This is a little bit of self-indulgence on my part, because as you can see, this is a Lord of Patriarchy video entitled, Well, Kevin Logan Won. Naturally, that speaks to me, because it's literally me. My lore with Lord of Patriarchy goes back to when his original channel, which was War Corps 666, which is an amazing name. It got taken down because he's an awful person. Also, beautifully, he once on that channel had to apologise to the state of Hawaii because he called them a pile of S or whatever, and he got picked up by the local media, and he had to put out an apology to a State of the Union, which is...
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Why did he call the entire state of Hawaii that?
Because he's an awful person, and they did they passed some liberal thing. I don't know. It could have been anything. It could have been a trans bathroom thing. It could have been just a general FU to Hawaii, and it got, like I say, it got picked up by like a local paper, and then it went on the TV in Hawaii or something, and he got a lot of blowback from the great denizens of that fine state. And yeah, he ended up having to put out a video apologising, not to like the people, or he apologised to Hawaii, which is mind-blowing.
If I ever end up in a situation where I have to apologize to an entire state, I think I'm going to retire. I think that's it. I think I've failed at that point at whatever I'm trying to do.
He's a special person. He really is. And he has a special place in my heart because he's the first person who ever responded to me on YouTube. Back when I used to do like prepared content, and we had a back and forth. It was delightful. And anyway, so apropos of literally nothing, back in like March when Joe Biden, the current, I believe, incumbent in the White House, which is good, he had just become the nominee, and I hadn't said anything in terms of a prediction, but our friend, whose real name is Dave, so we'll call him Dave, put out a thing to me saying, I challenge you to a bet that you've said that Joe Biden will win, and I say that Donald Trump will win. I hadn't made that prediction, and I hadn't tried to put a bet on with him, but he decided it was going to happen, and so he took a note out of the ALS challenge, Ice Bucket challenge thing, and said, if Trump wins, you have to dump a bucket of ice water on your head, and if Biden wins, so on. And I thought, that's okay, because you live in Minnesota, and as you can see here, there's snow on the ground. Whereas I live in Britain, and it would be a bit cold, but nothing too bad. So I thought, okay, I'll take that bet. And I called him out, and eventually, of course, the election went the way it did, and it paid off in hilarious fashion.
Okay, we're in my backyard, and you're probably wondering, why are we here? Well, a year ago, I made a bet with Kevin Logan that if Trump won re-election, he would dump ice water on his head, and if Trump lost, I would dump ice water on mine. Now, yes, the election has not been finalized. However, I'm about 95.5 certain that it's going to go one way. And that probably means we're going to have President-elect Biden, the worst president we're ever going to have. But a bet's a bet. He's called me out.
And he did it.
I now take this bucket of ice water and dump it upon my head. Okay, Kevin. Our bet is done.
You know what? There's so many chuds that would make that bet and then never follow through. As much as I dislike Lord of Patriarchy and I think he's a bad dude, I respect that he followed through on the bet.
He did, yeah. But I especially love that clearly actually hurt, because he was like, okay. And I can imagine him running in and taking a hot shower afterward or something. But yeah,
Sure.
he followed through, and that, yeah, exactly, that's worth respect. Indeed.
I do find it a bit suspect that he said Biden will be the worst president we've ever had. Has he been cryogenically frozen for the past 4 years?
No, but he is a chud. So his mind has been cryogenically frozen for the last 15 years or something, possibly. I'm not sure. But, yeah, he's made his mind up.
Actual Jake, thank you for rating. Welcome, Raiders. We're doing Chuds with Kevin Logan, KF Logan 1875 on Twitch. So
Yes. Hello, Raiders.
welcome.
Yes. So on from that to something that's not so great from our friend Dave. The Capitol Hill terrorisms.
Yeah.
And his obsession with AOC.
Oh, is he like Ben Shapiro? Does he want the Steelers shoes?
He does.
Want
He
feet pics?
He definitely does. He definitely
Okay.
definitely does. Yes.
Sure.
But anyway, he's doing that thing of when a young man is enamored with a young woman and doesn't necessarily understand how to deal with that, they will sometimes be a little bit rude because they don't know how to deal with feelings. Is how I think he's reacting here.
Pulling on her pigtails or whatever. Sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, little bitty AOC is all scared. She needs her teddy bear when she's in Congress because she doesn't feel safe around colleagues.
Okay, hold. Can you pause it for a sec? This frustrates me to no end. I've seen multiple chuds do this over the past, I don't know, week or so when AOC said that, like, oh, I feel uncomfortable. I don't feel safe around my colleagues. And they've made fun of this? Guys, this month, a bunch of right-wing psychos with weapons stormed the Capitol building to try and stop a democratic process. And the FBI has said at this point that there were people inside the Capitol working with them because they had Facebook messages telling them where to go to get to the underground tunnels. These were people who were intending to kidnap and or murder members of the United States Congress. AOC and every member of Congress has every right to feel that their lives are in danger because they are. People have been radicalized in the United States, okay? They're basically like right-wing Christian Al-Qaeda. It's not good. You should not be taking this lightly. And Lord of Patriarchy, doing a silly, stupid voice just makes you look like a jackass.
Well, no,
Okay.
clearly he can't be a jackass. He's got the clocks.
That's true. The
So-
very accurate clocks.
So he's intelligent and he knows how time works. So, checkmate, atheists. Anyway, yes. Yeah, like you say, it's literally that one police officer who, I mean, I'm reticent to give any congratulations to a police officer, but he literally led them away from the Senate like the Pied Piper of Fash.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Otherwise, many senators might now be dead. And Tim Paul's wet dream of a civil war might actually have happened. Who knows?
Oh my God, did you see Tim Pool's video like the day of when he was covering it?
Oh, he looked like he was literally ejaculating all throughout the entire thing, yeah.
He was so excited.
Yeah.
It was so gross.
He was embarrassed, yeah, and he was doing that thing where, oh, this is really serious, this is terrible, where and you can tell inside he's like jumping for joy. It's embarrassing. What a fool. He's genuinely, it sounds strange because he's such an absolute tool, but he might be one of the most dangerous people on YouTube because he's got such a reach.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. And he also, the fact that he frames himself as like, I'm a centrist, and then he does nothing but go to bat for super right-wing positions and promote conspiracy theories. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, indeed.
Happen, bitch. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or AOC, or as I like to call her, Little Lexi.
Ooh.
That's a sick burn, bro. Little Lexi. Oh, she's not coming back from that one.
It's
Jesus.
definitely not misogynistic at all, by the way, to try and infantilize a female member of the House of Representatives. Not petty at all.
No. But this is a man of great achievement, so I think he can look down on her, definitely.
That's true. Have you seen how many beers he can drink? Okay.
He has, and he's got a mini fridge, which is the mini fridge of destiny, as people will know on my channel. It knows all things. That's where he gets his power from. It's true.
Appeared Thursday on Cuomo Primetime and spoke about the continuing threat of Republican lawmakers carrying guns onto the House floor. I don't know what the status of D.C. is for concealed carry, but if they have a legal right to carry it,
You could
why
have
the
checked.
hell
They don't.
not?
But yeah, if he didn't know, he could have checked.
Yeah, they do not have the right to bring guns onto the floor of Congress. If in case anyone's curious, you are not allowed to bring weapons. You're not even really allowed to bring like knives into Congress, much less a gun, even if you're a congressperson, which is why the person who did that got fined $5,000. And if they do it again, they'll get fined $10,000. And I think it goes up every time. So.
Well, that's clearly that's going against the Second Amendment, which was clearly meant. Clearly, the founders definitely wanted gunfights on the floor of the Congress. So
yeah, that's what it says. It says you shall have the right to bring guns into a place of law and threaten your fellow people with QAnon bullshit. So
it's true.
There you go.
Well,
the founding fathers were truly wise.
Little known fact: in the original draft of the Bill of Rights, it said that Congress voting should be 1 shot for yes, 2 shots for no. That was literally true. They were gonna have bulletproof ceiling in the building and everything. But the Liberals don't want you to know that, do they?
True.
What do you think? The Republican lawmakers are going to pull a gun on you?
Yes.
No, they're not.
Yeah. If they're a crazy QAnon person, sure.
Well, that's the point. Yeah. Like firstly, they must now have realised that the Q thing was nonsense because they've now been around these people. There isn't a satanic paedophile cult or anything. But
you'd be shocked at the mental gymnastics some of these people do. But on top of that, I honestly, the QAnon congresswoman, I feel like is maybe to some extent, I don't know how much she really believes it. I feel like she's using it as a political tool. Because like she has nothing else going for her. Yeah. She ran unopposed, I'm pretty sure, in the first place. But I feel like if she didn't have the QAnon thing going, she would have had less fervent support. Who knows, though?
Yeah. Indeed, yeah. But, I mean, if there are people who believe that you're involved in a satanic cult to destroy America, then, I think it's perfectly reasonable to think that person might pull a gun on you. Yeah, absolutely. And like I say, I can't wait. Like, I hate to sound like Alex Jones, but I can't wait to see the inside job element of the Capitol insurrection, because, like you say, in the court, they're literally saying that they were being directed via, as of now, anonymous insider on Facebook, telling them where the Congress people were in the tunnels under the building and stuff. That's really worrying. That's incredibly worrying.
Yep, there are also Congress people who are giving tours to, and bear in mind, the Congress has been closed for weeks and weeks and weeks because of COVID. But Congress people had brought in groups of Trump supporters to give them tours of Congress days prior to the actual insurrection attempt. So I'm sure some of those people ended up being some of the people who went inside and did what they did.
Indeed.
Anyway, she skipped Joe Biden's inauguration on Wednesday, choosing instead to support striking grocery workers in the Bronx. Unions are terrible.
Well, that argument kills centuries of organising then. Yeah, good.
You know what I love? I love having the right to be fired for absolutely no reason. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Although Dave doesn't mind because he doesn't have a job, I don't think. So who cares, I suppose.
Sure.
But yeah, I like that. Just saying no unions are rubbish is just a good argument against all of the gains they've made for centuries.
Yeah. Weekends, 40-hour work weeks, child labor laws. Screw that.
Yeah. Terrible stuff. What we need is children back down mines, clearly.
Yeah. What if there's like something trapped in a little space? How am I supposed to get it? My hands are too meaty. Need a child hand, okay?
Or a cat.
And if they lose it, that's fine. They're spry. They're young. They'll recover.
Exactly. This little known fact, children's arms will grow back if they get caught up in a loom. It's fine.
Yeah. They're like starfish. Sometimes the arm will grow a second child off of it.
Well, that went weird. But thank you.
And I say this as a former union member. I know they suck because I was forced to join one. And let me tell you, when the shit hit the fan and I actually needed the fuckers, they were nowhere to be found. All union...
Yeah, I don't think they really had anywhere to go with your sexual harassment claims against you. Well,
I wonder
I'd-
what it was. Legitimately, was it that? Because usually unions are good at, like, you know, protecting their workers and their members. So he must have done something really, really terrible and inexcusable for them to not do anything.
presumably, or he's just lying and they did try, but ultimately he did do something that was sackable, and so, you know,
Sure.
tough. Like, they're not magic men. They can't they can't do, you know, they can't get you out of illegal stuff, Dave.
Yeah. Real
Represent-
quick. By the way, people who are doing bit messages and stuff in the chat, I'll try and get to them like at the very end of the stream, just so I don't like throw off the flow, because we're like simul streaming and I don't want to like stop every, you know, however long like I normally do.
That's fine.
So-
You do your thing. It's fine.
Oh, I have a ton of them though, so maybe in between videos, but not during it.
Okay.
Representatives do, or union people, they sit on their ass, they do nothing for complaints. The only people they seem to lift a finger for is to help terrible employees that should be fired. So yeah, unions terrible. Outside of a very few industry, all the unions could fucking go bye-bye. We had very real security concerns as well. We still don't feel safe around other members of Congress. How much is we? I think a very considerable amount. Well, most everyone was there.
Yeah. Oh God.
She's
Like, having a drinking problem is bad, and I'm not going to make fun of that. But
Sure.
don't flaunt it. Maybe.
No, he thinks it's hilarious that he's an alcoholic. I'm someone who also has, let's say, impulse control issues, so I don't drink anymore. But like going on camera and being like, "Yeah, I'm an alcoholic. Isn't this funny?"
Yeah.
Not good. Not a great coping mechanism.
No, it's not nice and quirky and like an interesting aspect of your personality. It's genuinely depressing, Dave.
It's not even unique. I live in Michigan, and drinking is like just the state pastime. Alcoholism is basically what everyone does for fun.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'll just say Melissa Carone and leave it there.
cited Andy Harris as proof. The congressman from Maryland tried to sneak a gun into the House chamber but was stopped by police, at which point he reportedly tried passing it on to someone else. And what do you think he's going to do even if he has a gun in there? Dear
But why would he need to take a gun in there if he wasn't going to do anything? Why is it an issue that it would be stopped from taking the gun in there?
Yeah, it's incredibly stupid. I just don't understand. If there are enough people that are in the building that the Capitol Police cannot handle it, you and your handgun are not going to do anything. So the only reason you would want to bring a gun into Congress is either you're a grandstanding idiot who just wants to be like, my Second Amendment rights, I want to, so whatever. And your Second Amendment right doesn't apply to the building of Congress.
Yeah.
Or if you like want to start some shit. There's no reasonable reason to be bringing your gun into Congress, period.
But what about if 30 to 50 feral hogs decide to invade
That's
the
true.
Congress? Then
If 30, can we just start calling the MAGA insurrectionists a horde of 30 to 50 wild hogs, feral hogs?
that works. That definitely works. Yeah. Well, Hassan Piker calls them hogs, doesn't he? So that way they fits in. We'll make it a bread
Okay.
tube thing or whatever.
AOC, I know you probably sit in your little pillow fort under your, when your bed's in a kitty corner and you sit in that little fort and you read
What?
your picture books. Well, guess what? A gun isn't magical. A gun can't load itself, fly around, and randomly shoot people.
It can be
That's
accidentally.
not-
It can be accidentally discharged. That does
Sure.
happen.
First of all, it's definitely loaded already. Otherwise, what's the point? Second of all, I think her issue is that she's concerned that the particular people who are bringing the guns in might have ill intent because they're QAnon type people, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Also, again, the infantilization, specifically, I think because she's a woman. I don't see this done to like male members of Congress typically.
No.
Like, Lord of Patriarchy is an adult man who wears nothing but graphic T-shirts with references to like cartoons and stuff, and yet he has the gall to like try and infantilize a member of Congress.
Well,
Jesus Christ, Dave.
Yeah, well, that's why these people love like attacking the squad, because they're women.
Yeah.
They love it. It's their perfect outlet for their internal frustrations.
Sure.
Following the deadly insurrection, 1, it wasn't deadly. 2, it was.
Whoa.
5 people died.
Yeah. What's your definition of deadly, Dave?
You need at least 6. It's not deadly unless there are 6 deaths. So they were real close, but not quite.
Oh, just missed out. Terrible stuff. Much like Trump in many respects.
Wasn't an insurrection. And 3, what the fuck was the Chaz Chop if you're going to cause what that was as an insurrection? No, it was a bunch of idiots.
They took over a park.
They took over like some block amount. I don't know.
But
Did they try and overthrow the federal government? I don't remember that shit.
I don't think they didn't even. I think the most that ever happened was someone tried to set fire to one courthouse, which isn't good. I'm not saying that's okay.
No.
But that's not the same as trying to murder Congress people.
Yeah, the equivocation, I've seen them too try and compare it to like Black Lives Matter protests, the ones where like there were, and by the way, again, most Black Lives Matter protests had no incidents, but of course there were a couple where like, oh, a Wendy's got burned down, and they're trying to equivocate like a Wendy's getting burned down to someone trying to overthrow the government and murder Congress people.
Yeah.
And I don't understand their brains. I really, really don't.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely ridiculous. First off, even if you want to equivocate the two sets of actions, I think we can agree that there are some uses of more robust action in history that have been successful and righteous, like the American Revolutionary War, for instance, would be one example. But that's on the basis that you've got some sort of cause that's worthwhile. And Black Lives Matter clearly do. You can argue to what extent or whatever, but they clearly do.
Sure.
Whereas the 30 to 50 feral hogs that invaded the Congress building, they didn't. They literally were just going off a pack of lies.
Yep.
There's no comparison.
Idiot Trump supporters that got rowdy. Now, do they deserve to go to jail? Yes. I've said this 5,900 times, but I haven't to keep repeating it.
You don't have to.
Just as every motherfucker that's Antifa or BLM that riots and loots and all that other shit can go to jail. They can all be loaded up on the same fucking bus and drove to the same fucking prison. Also, was it a deadly insurrection when people stormed the Senate to try to stop the confirmation of Brett Kavanaugh? What the fuck was that? Was that Americans giving the Senate their voice, or were they deadly insurrectionists?
Okay, hey, Lord of Patriarchy, how many people died during that?
No one.
What was damaged? Who did they break into the Capitol building while it was closed, or did they go inside and like protest peacefully?
Yeah,
Which one is it?
They protested
Did they?
peacefully, and the police took care of it pretty easily.
Yeah.
No,
They didn't have weapons or cuffs. They weren't coordinating with people inside to try and find, kidnap, and kill Congress people.
Also, he genuinely doesn't seem to understand what the word deadly means. Because he just said,
No.
was that a deadly insurrection? No, even if it was an insurrection, which it wasn't, it certainly wasn't deadly.
No.
Not a single person threw a fire extinguisher at the head of a police officer. That didn't happen.
Nope.
You have to make up your mind. I'm done with double standards. The second you have a double standard, to me, your point is garbage. Your point is trash. It is useless.
Well, that's silly as well. I hate to stop every couple of seconds, but it's difficult not to. Just on the basis that you can have a double standard and still have some semblance of a point. It doesn't make it useless. You shouldn't do double standards, but it doesn't completely negate the point.
I think he's throwing out. I've talked about this recently. The right seems to throw away all context and take the superficial elements of two situations, and as long as the superficial elements are close enough, they'll call it a double standard, even though the context of both situations is entirely different. So they don't look at like, oh, why are people entering the building of Congress? Also, is the building closed because of COVID? Also, did people die? Also, what was their intent? Was it to protest or was it to murder members of Congress? All they see is people entering Congress, and then they say, well, that's close enough. Aesthetically, to me, it looks the same, even though it really doesn't. And therefore, it's a double standard.
Yeah.
It's very strange. Context is poison to these people.
Yeah. They see one person throw a brick through a Starbucks window, and that's the same as breaking down the windows of Congress and rushing the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, again, like you say, if you remove context from anything, you can dishonestly claim that any two things are basically the same.
Yep.
Some House members became suspicious that the Republican colleagues may have been in on it. Metal detectors were installed outside the chamber as an extra precaution. Some members have attempted to flout the new safety measures. Lauren Boebert has spoken openly about her desire to carry a gun with her at all times. Again, she has the legal right to do it.
No, she doesn't.
No.
She absolutely does not. You are not allowed to bring weapons into Congress. You can't have knives. You can't have guns.
Yeah.
Take 5 seconds to Google this before you say something so confidently, you idiot.
And didn't that sprang from the actual Civil War, didn't it? When before the separation, they started bringing pistols into the chamber?
I don't know the actual origin of the law, but I know DC has some of the strictest gun laws in the country, especially in regard to federal buildings.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Not something that's allowed.
Yeah, I wonder if there's been a history of like assassinations and stuff that might make people wary of having loaded weapons around politically exposed figures.
No, that can't be it. No politician has ever been killed.
No.
We should probably have like a word for that. Like, I don't know. Ooh. Assassin. No, wait, no, that won't work. I'll have to workshop it. Workshop it.
Yeah, we'll come up with something.
Okay.
And the Second Amendment says she can do it.
No.
Nope.
Reportedly clashed with Capitol Police on the first day the metal detectors were installed. Some House members have just ignored them after setting them off. The moment you bring a gun...
Was that an argument?
Yeah, noises are arguments now.
They are.
onto the House floor in violation of the rules. You put everyone around you in danger. No! Guns are not sentient. They are tools, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Long as it isn't fucking in the hand of someone or you don't hear it go off, everyone's fine.
Right. But that assumes that no one can have ill intent when we know there are QAnon people.
Yeah.
And not just that, but if Lauren Boebert or Marjorie Taylor Greene went into Congress and killed, say, AOC, for instance.
Sure.
There would be a lot of people who would support that. There would be a lot of people who would raise money for her. She would still go to jail, and rightly so, but she'd be very, very popular for it.
I feel like 30 to 40% of the country would be like, yay, you killed the communist, because no one in America knows what a communist is.
Well, Joe Biden's a communist, so that word means nothing.
Guns can't magically fire on their own.
Well, no, but they can
straw man.
They can misfire as well.
Sure.
People have shot themselves accidentally and things. It happens.
Yeah.
And there's no need. There's literally, you're not hunting. There's no real need for self-protection. Like, there's no need for you to have a gun in that place.
Yeah. There's security guards. There's cops all over the place.
Yeah.
Why do you need a gun on the floor of Congress?
Yeah, exactly. Case, I don't know. Again, 30 to 50 feral hogs. Definitely. That could happen.
It's irresponsible. It's reckless. Beyond that, it's a violation of the rules. Oh, like how Ilhan Omar violated the rules by wearing her stupid fucking hijab.
What?
Oof.
On Congress's floor in clear violation of no headwear. But oh no, we had to change the rules for little old her, despite the fact that a bunch of fucking Jews served in Congress long
Whoa.
before her, and all of them took off their yarmulkes.
Wowzers.
The phrase "a bunch of fucking Jews" screams a person who really cares about religious freedom.
Yeah, I don't understand the issue. Like, he's supposed to be, and this is funny, he's supposed to be like a libertarian. Shouldn't he be in favor of like people being able to wear their religious headwear? That would be the libertarian stance, right?
Yeah.
Not saying, I don't know. Seems strange.
Yeah, not just that, but the basic argument, again, like you say, from the libertarian perspective, would be just because Jewish members of Congress have been wronged in the past, and they clearly were, the yarmulke is of no concern at all. Why continue also to wrong another person from a different religion?
Yeah.
The same would be true if a Sikh got elected, for instance, and they many of them wear turbans. Again, it's not there's nothing offensive there. Like, and I don't particularly understand the rule for no hats. That seems like some weird. Like,
it's antiquated. It's like I think it's a relic of back in the day when hats were a very, very common, piece of clothing for men, and men, of course, made up the vast majority of Congress. I mean, they still do, but I mean, back in the day, people would wear like fedoras and shit. I think it probably comes from that. And even before that, more formal, 19th century hats and shit.
Yeah, exactly. I want to see a Congress with a mixture of hats. I want to see way more top hats.
Honestly, can we just change the rule to mandatory hats?
Yeah.
But everyone has to have a different hat. So then we can get one with one of those like propeller hats, and then someone else will have like a top hat. And
Exactly. And then you can tell the really basic motherfuckers who are just going to turn up in like a baseball cap. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You could wear anything and you've gone baseball cap. Pandering.
The person who wears, they can all vote on who has the best hat, and then the best hat gets 10 extra votes for every bill put up for vote that day.
Exactly. That's the right word. Exactly. It would be a hat arms race at that point. It'd be amazing.
I want to live in a. Can we live in a hatocracy?
Yeah.
I'm for this, please.
You'd start, like, do you know the classic era Elton John, where he used to come out with those ridiculously huge... You'd have a Congress full of that, and let's be honest, that would be worth watching at that point. People would pay attention to their democracy at that point.
C-SPAN ratings would go through the roof.
Yeah, true.
Again, I said a bunch of Jews just because I don't know all the names of all the Jewish representatives since the country began off the top of my head.
Well, why not choose some racial
Needless to
names?
say-
Just be racist about it and make up some names, Dave. Why not? You couldn't be more racist at this point, really.
Like, is there not a line somewhere between, like, saying a whole bunch of effing Jews and saying, like, Jewish members of Congress? He could have said, like, he didn't need to know they're all individual names. He could have been like, there are Jewish members of Congress and have been. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
There were less inflammatory ways to say that.
Yeah. Joe Lieberman. There you go. There's one. He definitely was.
There were Orthodox Jews in the goddamn government, and they took off their yarmulke because of the rules.
Well, that's not just an Orthodox Jewish thing. That's like the most... Well, a lot of religious Jewish people will wear a yarmulke.
Yeah. Shapiro does.
Shapiro does, but in a comical way, because he wears like the biggest yarmulke I've ever seen. Like, way to virtue signal.
I'm not familiar with yarmulke sizes.
Well, I'm told reliably by my Jewish friends that he wears like a slightly silly, oversized version of the yarmulke. It's supposed to be kind of modest or whatever, but he wears one so you definitely see it. Like, yeah, okay, Ben, calm.
But oh no, we had to change the fucking rules for little old her, which was bullshit. She should have been forced to take off her stupid fucking hijab. Like, again, do you really think God cares what you have on your head?
Well, clearly she does, yes. I mean,
Yeah.
I think she's wrong.
Sure.
We're both, we're both godless baby-eating heathens, obviously. But she clearly does think that that's the case, and she wants to wear the thing, and it doesn't prevent her in any way, or indeed prevent any of her colleagues from doing their job.
As we all know, the Second Amendment applies in Congress, but the First Amendment doesn't, okay? You can
Exactly.
have guns, but your freedom of religion is trash.
Well, exactly. Well, yeah, because it's the Second Amendment, and the number 2 is bigger than the number 1, so
That's true.
that's how it works. Yeah.
You're openly disobeying the rules that we have established as a community. Bullshit. You only care about the rules when it benefits you, which means you cannot be trusted to be held accountable to what you've decided as a community. Pelosi announced a hefty fine for lawmakers who bypass the metal detectors. But besides, I'd love to know how she plans to enforce that. If she fined me, I'd be like, fuck you, I'm not paying it. Take me to court. Take me to court.
They would,
Yeah.
and they would force you to pay it.
Yeah. What do you think's going to happen in that scenario, Dave?
I'm sure a DC judge would be like, oh yeah, I'll let this slide.
Yeah. 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 And here are some guns. Bring guns into my court as well. That's fine. Like, come on now. Not just that, but Dave, weren't you going on about people breaking rules like 5 seconds ago?
Yeah.
And this is a rule that's been broken, and you're saying, well, I don't care. This is a law I don't like.
And it's funny because he also just got off a tirade saying that he hates double standards. So,
Indeed. Well, and by his own logic, the fact that he's got a double standard means all of his points are worthless.
true.
Or try to impeach my ass. Go for it, bitch.
No, they just increase like the fine and force you to pay it.
Yeah.
But what do you think's going to happen there? Like
Yeah, I
saw you talking about Count Dankula. Was that last night or the night before or something?
I think it got mentioned in one of Jake and I's videos.
No, I don't. I heard you talking about it anyway. And he's
Okay.
quite an interesting one because he got fined like £800, which is about $1,000 thereabouts.
Sure.
And US dollars, that is. And yeah, he wanted to make like more of a spectacle of it by refusing to pay, but they just took it from his bank account because they're the government. They can literally just do that.
Yep.
So he just went to the bank one day and he had no money, and they'd taken £800 from him because that was what he owed. Oh, did I hear a Baha there?
Yep, she was sneezing. Bless you. Also, they the fines are actually not like cash fines. They are wage garnishes from the pay you get for serving in Congress. So it's just taken out of their paychecks anyway.
So they literally couldn't refuse to pay because they
Correct.
don't have an option. Okay.
Yep.
That's even better. So you'd just be petulantly whinging, which is very, very on point for Dave, I think.
AOC believes bringing a gun to the House floor creates an unnecessary danger. Oh my God. Unless your lawmaker, while you're giving a speech, is playing Russian roulette, there is no danger. Guns by themselves, holstered and properly stored on a person, do not present a danger to anyone.
But if they are taken out of the holster by a crazy mofo and pointed at you and fired, they do.
I think the standard for "Are you a crazy mofo?" should be, "Do you want to bring a gun to the floor of Congress? If yes, you are too crazy to have a gun."
Yeah, indeed, yeah. There's no, because again, there's no other reason you would need a gun there but to, at the very least, intimidate your colleagues.
Sure.
Yeah.
A gun, to be dangerous, must be drawn by a human hand and then fired by a human hand. Then, yes, they get dangerous. But just hanging out in a holster, no. Not a chance.
I love that he thinks that's a gotcha.
Yeah.
I don't care if you accidentally set it off. If you're responsible, that won't happen. If you intentionally...
And as we know, all American gun owners are very responsible.
Absolutely. They definitely don't have murder fantasies at all. They don't want someone to break into their house so they can shoot them in the head 30 times.
Yeah. Exactly. They should just join the police. You can do that legally. Oh, that's an off-air joke I told on air. Oops.
set it off. No, those are two completely different things. One is an accident. The other is intentional. You do know that in law, when deciding whether to bring criminal charges against someone, we have to first determine was it a true blue accident that no reasonable person could have prevented or foreseen the consequences, or was it negligence, or was it intentional? Because you do know you don't get in trouble if it's a true blue accident.
But that's not necessarily true.
It doesn't even matter for the
Yeah.
concept he's talking about, because like, just because you wouldn't get in trouble doesn't mean AOC, if it was an accident, wouldn't have a reason to be concerned, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it was an accident. You accidentally shot a 97-year-old member of Congress in the head. Whoopsie. It was an accident, though, so I'm not allowed to be upset about it. That's such a stupid argument.
Plus, you just then get Republicans like taking guns into Congress and accidentally dropping them on the floor all the time, hoping that it'll go off. You wouldn't be able to hear the debate over the sound of guns clanking on the floor.
It's a filibuster, but it's just a Republican shooting a gun into the air for 6 hours.
I could see Ted Cruz doing that. Definitely. In between reading Horton Hears a Who or something. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, every time he drinks and he can hear it going down his throat. I hate it.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I mean, I can't talk. I haven't got a glass, but I'm not, an alcoholic. Dave, just get a glass. We don't want to hear you glugging. It's gross. Don't involve everyone else in your problem, would be my suggestion.
Like 1 in a million or something like that. You're endangering the lives of members of Congress. No, you're not.
That's
and
argument
it's
one.
Outrageous that we even have to have this conversation. Okay, so a congresswoman can't have a gun.
Correct.
How many guns do you think are actually on the floor, AOC? Do you honestly think there's no armed security on the floor of the goddamn House of Representatives?
They're the security.
If that's true, you need to get better coloring books.
What? What does that even mean? What?
It's his one joke. Is that AOC is a child, even though he doesn't even know how clocks work. I guess he didn't get to that kindergarten class yet.
Well, he's like Dave Rubin. He's got high-level ideas going on. He can't be dealing with time. Time is an insignificant, puny thing to Dave. Clearly.
Okay.
You could edit that out. For fuck's sake. Sorry. Go on.
To upgrade to your big girl readers. There's armed men all over, inside and outside the Capitol.
Yeah, they're security,
Are
Dave.
you retarded?
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, there you go. It's a hazard of watching the Chud video, unfortunately.
yeah.
So yeah, well, God, Jesus. Somebody once asked when I was making fun of AOC, like if I had the chance to sleep with her,
For God, it's always with Dave. Dave, firstly, why the fuck would she lower herself? Really? Why?
Maybe we should give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he just says this about every congressperson. If he talks about Mitch McConnell, maybe he talks about would I fuck Mitch McConnell. I'm sure he's very internally consistent and isn't just being super, super gross.
I'll be honest, given the chance, he's famous. I probably would. I'm not gay, but I would. Because, just to say, yeah, I legally fucked a turtle. Who can say that? It's a beautiful thing. And I suppose, look, we won't go into it, but there's another video where Dave was complaining about Biden setting taxes too high. But the thing he was actually covering was Amazon being taxed.
Yeah.
Who's against Amazon being taxed? What?
He's a libertarian. He's got a oh God, I keep wanting to say the word I can't say on Twitch anymore. He wants to defend multi-billionaires, okay? How else is he going to become a multi-billionaire if he doesn't defend them, okay?
True.
One day,
Really take it
Bezos
up.
will
It's
show up at his house and he'll say, I saw you on the internet defending me not paying taxes. Here's $7 billion.
Which is a tiny fraction of my wealth. That's a grim thing. Good lord.
Like, no, I wouldn't. You know why? I don't sleep with stupid, and she is.
Dave.
Dave doesn't masturbate. Confirmed.
Yeah, well, exactly, yeah. But not just that. But Dave, if she so much as looked at you, if you made eye contact with her, you would instantly spill your load. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you've seen his awful rating women videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, if any of those women, including the 25 beer ribeye steak women, that's a method of analysing women apparently. Yeah, if any of them looked at you twice, Dave, you'd be high-fiving people in the street.
Grade A stupid. God damn. How in the. To the people of her fucking district. Jesus. Vote her out. She's an embarrassment. My God, if I lived in Brooklyn, I'd hang my head in shame.
Well, I'm sure AOC will struggle to recover from that savaging that she just took there. Maybe she should just get better colouring books or something, and maybe Dave would stop. I don't know.
Maybe. Who doesn't like coloring books, by the way? So rude.
Yeah, very much so.